Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Manny Dogs. It's another edition of What's on Your Mind, Manny Dogs, man. Today, I want to discuss my man, Eli Manning, man. And here's what I find interesting. The complete disrespect that this man gets when it comes to his football career is astonishing. Not only from the mainstream media, the likes of Skip Bayless and Dominic Foxworth and Damian Woody and Stephen A. Smith and all these so-called professionals who do this for a living, but from Giant fans themselves. The argument that whether or not he's a Hall of Famer, is absolutely asinine. He is hands down, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I'm gonna address these arguments against him, right? Some of the things you hear is his record. Okay? 117 and 117. If you add his playoffs, it's 125 and 121. So he's over 500 there. And you hear, oh, he has a lot of turnovers. Okay. He just never was, an elite guy. Like, he was never the best in the league, and all these things, right? So now I ask y'all, what is good and great? What's the difference? What's the difference between good and great? And I'm gonna tell you, man. So long, people said Dan Marino was the greatest quarterback ever. So long. Never won the big one. So my argument is he was the greatest regular season quarterback that you ever saw. But we're talking about greatness. And when we're talking about greatness, greatness is winning. And when you have the opportunity to seize the moments, greatness rises above the levels of good in the moments that mean the most. We'll get into numbers. Believe me, we'll get into numbers. You hear about, he throws a lot of interceptions. Okay, Brett Favre has the most interceptions in history, right? He's in the Hall of Fame. He's also got the most touchdowns in history, right? Okay, so in that matter, because that would be the argument. Well, he's a Super Bowl winner, and he was the leader in touchdowns all time. So you're telling me numbers matter with that argument. So the numbers are, it's okay for him to throw a lot of interceptions, throw the most ever, because he threw a lot of touchdowns too, right? So numbers matter. Okay. Let's address some of this stuff. I took some notes, man, because I really appreciated all the things that I heard throughout the week. First of all, how does he stack up against his contemporaries? So I thought about the people that he played with. I thought about the Drew Breeses, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Phil Rivers, Tony Romo, Brett Favre, Culpepper, Vic McNabb, just to name a few, right? A few quarterbacks that I threw out there that I know people would be like, oh, I'll take him over Eli. Sounds good. Drew Brees, for being as great as he is, he's 8-6 in the playoffs. And I don't think that's included this year, but 8-6, right? One Super Bowl. He's got yardage. He's got all these great things. One Super Bowl. Okay. You would say, I'll take Drew Brees over Eli. Okay. Sure. Ben Roethlisberger, 2 Super Bowls. Great yards. All those things. I didn't get his numbers for playoffs. But Ben is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think you guys would argue with that. I don't think you would. But I'm pretty sure he's got more losses in the playoffs than Eli. Phil Rivers, 4-4 in the playoffs. Tony Romo, 2-4. Brett Favre, 12-10. Dante Culpepper, remember when he was flying hot? 2-2. Mike Vick, the video game killer, 2-4. And Donovan McNabb, who was in our division, who went to 4 straight NFC Championship games, 9-8. When Eli went to the playoffs, he's 8-4. 8-4. As an underdog, he's like 7-1. That means from the wild card spot. And that's when it counts, right? So let's talk about great versus good. How many quarterbacks have won more than one Super Bowl? I'll let you know. There's 12. And starters. I'm not talking about a Nick Foles type. I'm talking about starting NFL quarterbacks. I'll read them off. Bart Starr, Roger Staubach. Let me pause. Bart Starr, Hall of Fame. He's got 2. Roger Staubach, Hall of Fame. Got 2. Bob Greasy, Hall of Fame. Got 2. Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. He has 2. John Elway, he has 2. Ben Roethlisberger, he has 2. Probably will one day be in the Hall of Fame. John Elway's in the Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning, Hall of Fame. He's got 2. Troy Aikman, 3. He's in the Hall of Fame. Bradshaw, 4. He's in the Hall of Fame. Montana, 4. He's in the Hall of Fame. And, of course, Tom Brady will be in the Hall of Fame with 6. Okay. Eli Manning is the other one. Right? And I know it makes you sick, doesn't it? It makes you sick that Eli Manning's name has to be in there, right? Because you want it to be somebody else. It's not. Sorry. Here's the other thing. He's got more yards than 9 of those 11 guys I just talked about. Peyton and Tom are the only ones with more yards. At this current time, he's got more yards than Ben Roethlisberger. So 9 of 11 of those guys, he's got more yards. He's got more touchdown passes than 9 of 11 of those guys. He's got more wins than 7 out of those 11. And more Super Bowl MVPs than 8 out of those 11. And you know that stat already. You've heard it all week probably. There's only been, I think, 5 guys with Super Bowl MVPs, multiple Super Bowl MVPs, and Eli's one of them. And I know it makes you fucking sick. Here's the argument you hear about that. Well, of course he's going to have stats. Remember we talked about Brett Favre, right? Stats, numbers. He's top 10 in every statistical category in NFL passing history. Top 10. Number 7, I think touchdowns, 7 yards, or 6 touchdowns, 7 yards, 7 completions, and all the stats that mean something, right? Okay. You know the argument they take about that? Oh, well, he's been in the league 16 years. And y'all say that like that is easy. You say the disrespect to say that this guy played 16 years, never missed a start for injury. Y'all say that like that's cool. Like it's like you just brush it off. Like you just brush it off. He's supposed to have those numbers. If that's the case, Emmitt Smith is supposed to be the all-time leading rusher because he played for 100 years. Frank Gore should be number 3 right now because he played so. Stop discrediting what consistency and toughness is. And there's no one tougher than Eli Manning. Not one player to play this game that's ever been tougher than Eli Manning. And if you have an issue with that, why would we ever honor Cal Ripken in baseball? Nothing knocks you. I mean, nothing blows you away with his stats. But he played so long. So his stats added up. So you mad because he got into the top 10 because he was there? To take the shot, to take the winning shot, you got to be available. And he was. Now let's talk about more numbers. He is the number 1 quarterback in the history of the New York Giants. He leads in every category, right? Here's the other thing. He leads in every category in the state of New York, right? The Giants, the Jets, and the Bills. He's got more wins. He's got more yards. He's got more touchdowns than all of those guys. Just the facts, right? That's all we talking about. So what we talking about, real shit? Or we talking about fake? Right? We're gonna talk real, we're gonna talk opinion, or we're gonna talk facts. How Jay-Z said, if we talk about opinion, hold on, part of my back. All right. He never won MVP. Okay. He was never an all-pro. You're right. That's terrible. How many MVPs he beat when it counted? See, you can have all the MVPs in the world, man. Peyton Manning got a bunch of those. Aaron Rodgers got a couple of those. A lot of guys have a lot of MVPs and great regular season stats, and they were awesome in the regular season. But what happened when they got in? Don't make excuses. I know you want to say, well, wait a minute, they didn't have this and they didn't have that. Dan Marino didn't have the running game. He didn't have the team around him. Oh, so now it's a team sport? It's a team sport now? Or is it only a team sport when it doesn't include Eli Manning? Because Eli Manning, for the last, 8 years, he had a team? He had an offensive line? Is that what you're telling me? You're not telling me that, are you? I digress on that. There's a difference between great and good, man. There's a difference between great and good. And I think Eli has proven he is great. I use Brett Favre as the excuse because he's got, he had the most touchdowns and the most interceptions. When he did that, what did they call him? A gunslinger. He was a winner. He was an MVP, for crying out loud. Yeah, he was an MVP. A bunch of times too, right? How many rings did that translate into? So is the MVP really somebody who is supposed to elevate their team and transcend the level, and yet he didn't do that? Once. Eli did it twice. And the record in the playoff run he had to make in both of those Super Bowls was the death row of records. 14-2, 15-1, 13-3, 13-3, 18-0. Like, miss me. And yeah, he limped his 9-7 behind in there and handled his business. Now, I know this is running long, man, and you know what? I don't apologize, but this was one of those things that needed to be talked about. And as far as the team game again, if you put any one of those MVPs on the teams that Eli Manning had, I highly doubt they're going to be as successful as they were. Oh, and the last argument, it was the defenses that won him the Super Bowl. It wasn't him. Okay, let's check that box. Give me one quarterback that won a Super Bowl that had a trash defense. Give me one quarterback that won a Super Bowl that had a defense. Patriots were always in like top 10. Always. Good defenses. Stop it. Knock it off. You guys sound stupid. You're making excuses to keep somebody from what they have earned. And because he's not sexy, he doesn't have the sexy accolades that come with some of these other guys. He just did his job for 16 years and won football games, man. And back to that defensive argument, man. The defense won. Why wasn't a defender an MVP? Oh, well, they always give it to quarterbacks. Well, they talk about the lucky catch. Well, did you see what he had to do to make that lucky throw? What about the throw to Manningham? Oh, who threw the game? Who won the game against the undefeated ones? Was that a touchdown pass? It was a touchdown pass. Wow. Did he outplay Tom Brady in those games? Yeah, he did. What about Aaron Rodgers in that playoff? Yeah, he did. He outplayed him too. Man. So you mean to tell me when it counted, Eli's greatness took over? Or would you rather much have the all-time leading passer, several MVPs, and it translated to nothing? Dan Marino's great, guys. He's great. Regular season. He probably made the playoffs more than Eli. Couldn't quite get it done. There's plenty of guys who made more playoffs, man. These MVP types, these elite guys that you talk about. Why couldn't they get it done? And if you argue the team game, the argument goes both ways. Stop wasting your time, man. Stop. Just get it out of your system. And I don't understand it. Get it out of your system, throw it up, puke it up, do what you gotta do. But at the end of the day, facts. I gave you numbers, greatness. And there's plenty of all-time greats he's got better stats than. But I broke it down to the 11 other guys who has multiple Super Bowls. Because when you say just one Super Bowl, you hear the Trent Dilfers and the Nick Foles and the Brad Johnsons. He's got a Super Bowl. Yeah, okay. We're talking about full-time starters. And just for being the #1 New York quarterback, period,